Today, we shatter the chains of digital control. I declare with unwavering pride, our nation's telecom empire built by our hands connects 22 million souls to a future we own.
Imagine a small, landlocked nation in the heart of Africa, a place long dismissed as too poor, too disconnected to lead. Then in one heart-pounding moment, it flips the script entirely. On a scorching August morning in 2025, in the vibrant capital of Ouagadougou, anticipation hung in the air like the heat itself. Inside a packed hall, journalists clutched their notebooks. Local engineers whispered with excitement. Security officers stood alert under the relentless Sahel sun. For weeks, rumors had swirled of a secret project, something big, something unheard of. No one was ready for what came next. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, just 36 years old, stepped forward with quiet confidence, no theatrics, no drawn-out speech. In a crisp, electrifying 15 minutes, he made an announcement that would shake the world. Burkina Faso had launched Faso Telecom, a fully sovereign, homegrown telecom empire built by Africans, for Africans, connecting 22 million people without a single foreign string attached. This wasn't just a press conference, it was a revolution. For decades, the world had told Africa, and especially a landlocked country like Burkina Faso, that it could never break free from foreign control. They said it lacked the money, the technology, the expertise. Traoré didn't argue, he proved them wrong. Live before a global audience. Faso Telecom wasn't a distant dream, it was real, alive, and already connecting 92% of the country. From the bustling markets of Ouagadougou to remote villages near Gorom, Burkina Faso's voice was now its own. So how did a nation pull off something this massive? Faso Telecom is no ordinary network, it's a masterpiece of Burkinabè ingenuity. Imagine 4,200 kilometers of fiber optic cables stretching across deserts, weaving through hills, cutting across rugged terrain, not imported from Europe or Asia, laid by local workers who know every curve of this land like their own heartbeat. Then there are 65 satellite stations built here in Burkina Faso, beaming signals to the farthest reaches of the nation. The scale is staggering, 92% national coverage, from crowded city streets to the quietest desert hamlets. This is not just about getting online, it's about giving every person a voice, a connection, a chance, and the funding? Here's the shocker. The $1.2 billion project didn't borrow a single penny from the IMF, the World Bank, or European banks. Instead, Burkina Faso reclaimed its own wealth, redirecting funds once spent on foreign military contracts and unfair mining deals. Gold royalties that used to fill foreign pockets were brought home to build cables, towers, and dreams. Who made it happen? Not big-name tech giants or foreign consultants, but 647 Burkinabè engineers and technicians, most of them under 35. Sons and daughters of the soil, trained in Ouagadougou and based in Koudougou. They didn't follow some foreign blueprint, they designed a network tailored perfectly to their country. Cables crafted in local factories, towers built to withstand the Sahara's punishing heat. Software coded to handle dust storms and unstable power grids. They even constructed a tier for data center in Koudougou capable of handling 2.5 million connections at once, stress-tested against cyberattacks, power outages, and brutal weather, all while maintaining a 99.8% uptime. This isn't just infrastructure, it's independence. It's proof that when a nation bets on itself, it can rewrite its destiny. That's not just engineering, it's a movement. These young innovators designed cooling systems from local evaporative panels, wrote load balancing algorithms tuned to Sahel weather patterns, and built emergency protocols and more. Fulfilled and doula, they showed the world Africa doesn't need outsiders to solve its problems, it only needs the chance to shine. For decades, Burkina Faso's telecom lifeline was held by outsiders, most notably a French company called Telesur. They raked in billions while hospitals went underfunded. Data was stored in Paris, internet traffic looped through European servers, with prices set in foreign currencies. Worst of all, during protests in 2021, Entire provinces were cut off because an executive in Marseille flicked a switch. In that moment, doctors couldn't order supplies, families were cut off from each other, and voices were silenced not by their own government, but by a foreign corporation with the keys to their connection. Captain Ibrahim Traoré said, "No more." Starting in March 2024, in just 14 months, Burkina Faso built its own network from the ground up. 4,200 kilometers of locally laid fiber optic cable, 211 relay towers made from Burkinabè steel, and 65 satellite uplinks running software coded in Wahiguir. Young developers from the newly opened Faso Institute created mobile platforms to serve the nation's needs. This wasn't just about building a network, it was about reclaiming power. Now, every call, every text, every file stays in Burkina Faso. No foreign switch can shut them down again. The beating heart of this system is in Kédougou, where a tier for data center runs entirely on open-source software maintained by coders under 30. It's secure, resilient, and sovereign. As Traoré put it, our voice no longer leaves this continent before it reaches our neighbor. For 27 years, the country's telecom system was run by profit-driven outsiders. Traoré ended that era in a single, unforgettable speech. But this is not just about one man. His vision lit the fuse, but it was 647 engineers, workers, and coders who built Faso Telecom into reality. He didn't dictate, he empowered. He created the Telecommunications Sovereignty Fund, redirected gold mining royalties back home, and funneled former military budgets into civilian infrastructure. The system they built puts people first. And it truly is for everyone. Over 1,500 remote villages now have high-speed internet, with download speeds of 22 Mbps in places like Majuri and Tinikovan, heard of a year ago. Farmers receive real-time crop updates to plan harvests and avoid weather disasters. Rural clinics hold video consultations with city doctors, saving lives in once-isolated communities. Religious leaders securely communicate with followers across the Sahel. In the highlands, a 12-year-old named Hamidou logs into his lessons every morning on a solar-powered tablet, learning in his native Moor from volunteer teachers in Ouagadougou. In Djibo, a mother of 3 video chats with a pediatrician on an encrypted line no outsider can touch. These aren't just connections, they're lifelines. And they're free, no premium packages, no exclusion. Just connection as a right, not a privilege. When Faso Telecom was announced, the world reacted sharply. Some called it Africa's quiet revolution, others, especially in the West, were less enthusiastic. Teles's stock plunged on the Paris exchange. Luxembourg-based Helionet Group demanded $276 million in compensation for broken contracts. Burkina Faso's reply was ice-cold. We do not negotiate the return of what was always ours. Critics in Western media warned about state control of communications as though foreign control had been any better. CNN questioned whether Faso Telecom might be used to silence dissent, ignoring that foreign companies had literally silenced entire provinces in 2021. The Economist asked whether Burkina Faso could be trusted with its own data. But Traoré turned the question around. Who trusted Telesa when they stored African data in Paris? Who trusted them when they cut our people off? Because Faso Telecom is not about control. It's about freedom, it's about a nation setting its own rules, and it's bigger than just cables, satellites, or servers. It's about redefining independence for the digital age. For decades, African nations were told to stick to the basics: food, water, roads. But what if in the 21st century, the basics also include encrypted bandwidth and data sovereignty? In Kédougou, the tier for data center hums with 2.5 million live connections, cooled by locally built systems and managed by graduates of the Faso Institute in Kaya, and Imam shares sermons with nomadic communities through secure forums stored in local language archives. In Manga, birth records are now fully digitized, cutting paperwork by nearly half in just 4 months. Faso Telecom's roots are unmistakably African. Its eSIM technology runs on a proprietary encryption algorithm from Burkina Faso's National Cryptography Division. Its geolocation services rely on domestic satellites launched in June 2025, with telemetry handled by the Sahel Telecommunications Brigade, a team of former engineering students trained in military-grade systems. Every byte of data, every call, message, and record stays under Burkinabè control. When a country controls its own signal, it controls its own story. And Burkina Faso has just reclaimed its voice. No byte of data leaves Burkina Faso, no temporary storage in Europe, no detours through American servers. This is digital sovereignty in action. Faso Telecom runs on open source code written in Moe and fulfilled, audited by young local programmers, and maintained by a team all under 30. Its operating systems are a custom-built OpenStack variant designed by 3 graduates from Faso Tech's first-classes school that opened just last year and now trains over 3,000 students in telecom, cybersecurity, and microelectronics. No foreign scholarships, no imported manuals. Every course is written and accredited locally by the National Council for Technological Sovereignty. For decades, African nations were told they needed foreign training. Faso Telecom proves they only needed the tools. The ripple effect is already continental. Malawi and Sierra Leone are studying its model for their own networks. In Kinshasa, ICT students pore over its architecture for visas. In Addis Ababa, the African Union requested a closed-door demo of Faso's node-switching encryption engine. In Ghana, lawmakers are asking the question, if they can do it, why can't we? Over 91% of Faso Telecom's components are made domestically or sourced through South-South partnerships. In July 2025, the network ran without a single foreign hardware dependency, a feat even some G20 nations haven't managed. This isn't imitation, it's momentum. Faso Telecom is more than fiber, towers, and satellites. It's a promise. A promise that Africa doesn't need permission to rise. That young people, given the chance, can change the game. That a continent, once written off, can lead. In towns like Tito, internet arrives via wine-powered relays. Children study under metal canopies that shield devices from the sun. They might not know who built Google, but they know who built Faso Learn, their own learning platform in their own language. The reaction abroad has been swift and nervous. Western embassies are quietly expanding cybersecurity teams across the Sahel. Corporations with African cloud investments are reevaluating their exposure. The old assumption that Africa was open, malleable, and low-risk is crumbling. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso is training digital diplomats fluent in both code and politics. The first 42 graduates from Faso Tech will help regional governments explore their own telecom sovereignty. Control over infrastructure isn't just technical, it's psychological. That's why Faso Telecom has no premium tiers, no hidden fees, just equal access for all. A child's first click opens a local classroom, not a foreign app. A newborn's first medical record speaks Murray, not Mandarin. If Burkina Faso can connect 92% of its population without foreign direction, what else can Africa build? If a nation, once silenced, can now code its own future, what old truths need rewriting? Captain Traoré's digital doctrine has redrawn the map of African connectivity. This is not about catching up, it's about building on Africa's own terms. From Nairobi to Bamako, Kinshasa to Lagos, the signal is getting louder. Africa is rising. And this time, the world will have to keep up.